Damn, we truly live in a very unique time right now. I never thought in a million years we're gonna have a discussion about jiggle physics and games itself. I never thought as a gamer itself, at least if you grew up in a time space where you had Dead or Alive beach volleyball, where you had to add the years to 99 years just to get a little bit of form of a jiggle physics. If you know what I'm talking about, that means you are born in the right era of time of gaming itself. Now we're living in a time space where it's very unclear what is a woman and what is a man is, especially is in the Western society and generally when you're gonna have men competing in women athletics, sports and beauty event itself. And now this type of atmosphere, this type of left-wing thinking and of course discussion has tainted and got himself hold into the gaming industry. And the industry was also known to be a free thinking and market space and a safe space for freedom of speech and creativeness and generally. Now it's been the focus points on discussions about censorship, how deep it's truly going, and hypocrisy within the Western community about things that they are allowed to happen in certain markets, a space of forms of creative freedom. And I'm talking about Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, and many more games that have been established within the market space of the Western audience itself and created by Western people, where the censorship was not that hard comparing to creative and artists that who've been trying to create something new, who came from another space or place in the world itself. And I'm talking about right now in this space in Asia itself. For those who know what I'm talking about, we are talking about right now about Stellar Blade, a brand new IP created by Shift Up, the very first attempt to a AAA market on a console space itself. There's a creator that's usually known for the mobile games, that it had a very unique taste if it comes to the character creation and of course the jiggle physics within the market space of the mobile games itself. So now they created a brand new game that's called himself Stellar Blade. It's for the console port as a full-fledged AAA game based on the mechanics and the play styles that we know I would like to call the Soulsborne genre itself. Took a unique spin in it and added a very beautiful cherry on the top itself, and that cherry of course Eve. Eve is a beautiful young lady who has been character remodeled by a real life Korean model, maximum model itself. This maximum model, Shin Yoon-eun, used her body to be portrayed on the game itself. So it's literally a one-on-one reimagining of a real life young lady itself. And they added that specifically for the universe they are trying to create and just in generally itself. From the beginning, this game was truly marketed as a game that is focused himself on the beauty of Eve itself within the Souls-like combat system itself. That's how the game was marketed itself. Within many years, amount of speculation how the game is going to come out, even a week prior before the game was supposed to come out, the developers themselves clearly say that this game is not going to be censored whatsoever for any place, anywhere in the world. That means all 5 continents itself, even for us here in Africa itself. When the game truly came out for the very first time, everybody was excited. I bought a digital copy. Some people bought, of course, the real life physical copy of it. For those who had a real life physical copy and did not do the day one patch on it, they had the real game where at least how it was supposed to be intended to be played for a lot of audience gamers out there. That means all the clothing styles and every single thing was authentic according to the creative freedom and the artistic freedom that the developer of Shift Up had in mind in creating this beautiful universe and world itself. But Sony itself and the day one patch, they have done something very tricky and very nasty. According to the day one patch, they added a different form of let's say censorship and of course debuffing of Eve itself. I don't know how to put it correctly in the right English word, but the changes and the altered certain form of clothing styles. More importantly, this bunny rabbit outfits right here, you can see definitely the image aspect was a little bit different between the day one patch and one before. And this beautiful latex outfit of Eve itself, you can see her cleavage area has also been altered a little bit and been changed. Now, a lot of people, you will be wondering right now, what is the problem right here, Ash? Now, the thing is, it's not about the jiggle physics. It's not about the jerk off attempts, or it's not about the gamers are trying to simp for a character or an imagining girl itself. It's not about you trying to jerk off to a video game and all the stuff of weird debate and of course counter discussions that left-wing journalists are trying to portray if it comes to this game, how it's been portrayed, calling it over-sexualized. It's a concept and about censorship itself, what is allowed, what is not allowed. You have to see it like this in the content. For example, for those who are from Senegal itself, imagine yourself that you go on the African Renaissance statue itself in Senegal, and all of a sudden people are saying you have to cover this beautiful young lady itself just because it's not she's been over-sexualized. Knowing itself how sexualization and how we see things about women's sexualization and everything in Africa, it's completely different. The same thing, for example, if you go to the Zulu and Zoza festival in South Africa itself, and you see beautiful young lady doing the rite passage to become a young woman, you openly see that the breast, of course, and of course the sexualization is very open. How we see in Africa sexualization is completely different when they see it in the West, of course. I know if this kind of discussion is completely moronic for us to hear and just generally, but I need to understand the context of it, because eventually these type of discussions will come to us here in motherland as well, eventually. So it is very important that we nip it in the bud and we're talking about it openly and honestly with one another. The one thing that really hit me very wrongly, it's not because people, we have two sides in it right now. We got people who are say, who gives a shit about the censorship right now. The game is simply amazing. The combat system is brutal, it's fresh, and of course is a right way for implementing the source mode mechanics itself. The game, its story is immaculate and it looks absolutely astonishing to play towards to. It's made on the Unreal Engine 4 itself, and this game looks simply gorgeous to play in. And all this discussion has been a little bit put under the water just simply because Eve is very beautiful. And for those who are defending it right now, and that's the thing that nipped me in the butt personally, is that we have a lot of creators left and right are putting death threats to other creators itself with just having an open-minded viewpoint when it comes to the discussion itself. For example, this young lady right here who added a 30,000 bounty towards an American content creator and a streamer itself. It comes of Asmongold. Now guys, you need to understand one thing. Asmongold is known within the gaming community as being one of the biggest streamers, at least the biggest American streamer in the world itself. So his position if it comes to video games truly matters within the American audience itself. I would even say within the Western audience just in generally. So when he's playing this game, it's created a big market for this game, a big platform for this game, and his position that he took is favorable and for this game itself and his artistic output where this creator is trying to create. So by doing so, this young lady is called himself Denim, who is supposed to be one of the biggest political streamer of America itself. Supposedly, if you are political streamers, we think in Africa somebody probably studied political science and this kind of stuff. I don't know if it's true or not, but within her studies and multiple years of studies with being a political streamer, having been a political activist, having knowledge in the political atmosphere, her take and all of that is putting a bounty on somebody's head of $30,000 itself. I'll say it again. She put a bounty on somebody's head for $30,000 itself. From all the studies that she has done to be a political streamer itself, a political activist, that's what she learned from her schooling itself. That is the dumbest thing you can ever do. Absolutely the dumbest thing you ever do. But we're gonna let hear from her, the horse's mouth itself, what she has to say about it.
And no HP put out bounty on Asmon Live. What is this? Oh, I saw this. Somebody linked this to me, obviously. We'll watch this. Here we go.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? 30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear and make Eve's breasts bigger. Okay, you have to do both. Alright? Because then it's a win-win for me.
What a retard.
I get more breast, and I don't have to see that moron on my timeline anymore.
Oh my god.
So if you think about it.
Well, She's so aggressive? Well, it's simple. So how do you deal with a situation like this? It's really easy. I contacted Twitch about it earlier. I sent them the clip, and we'll see what happens. And, you know, maybe after that, I might put in a police report. I'm gonna just wait and see how things play out. This is unhinged. It's completely unhinged. It's totally uncalled for. Yeah, this is like a felony. What is this? She's got me on the screen, and she's saying that. Yeah, so I did see this. I thought it was quite ridiculous. It's actually kind of a surprise. She made a clip saying the cops would laugh at the clip and not take it seriously, Lamau. Well, maybe that's the case. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out.
The most ridiculous thing right here in this entire debacle and discussion, of course, is that people find it normal in their lifetime to put a bounty on people's head because their political opinions differs in somebody else's. I think freedom of speech is just about you having your own political opinion. Now I want you guys to think, especially those who are living in America or in the Western world itself. Imagine yourself that Asmongold was a man of color. He was an African like myself, and of course he has the political viewpoints. So like in my case as well, I am for the creative freedom of the artist to shift up, making the game that they intended to be played. I am not one way, shape or form trying to over-sexualize a real-life young woman who is Shin Young-in, her body, literally her beauty, what God gave her, to be shown in a beautiful video game exactly how God has created her, exactly how she was created. I have no problem in playing with a beautiful, stunning young lady like that, especially knowing for myself I'm a hardcore Souls gamer itself. I just want to put that into context. Now, I want you guys now to think, imagine yourself once again that the world was reversed, that Asmongold was a man of color, and now the lady over there who put the bounty on Asmongold was a white mag wearing political activist. For those who do not know in Africa what I'm talking about, mag wearing activists, those are people who are in support of Mr. Donald Trump, the ex-president of the United States itself. Because wearing his famous Make America Great Again helmet of caskets, it's been portrayed for a lot of people within the America and just generally and the Western audience as something extremely racist against people of color itself. Imagine yourself now, this young lady who put a bounty on Asmongold, is that one of those people? It would be an outrage itself, just an absolutely outrage itself. The internet will shut down, the FBI, whatever CIA, whatever we see, always seen in American movies, will be knocking on that bitch's door very, very fast. Very, very fast. For some weird reason, and all of this has been deemed okay for this type of behavior to happen online. Online bullying, I could say, in a certain form. That is absolutely crazy. To make everything in another context itself, because I find it very important that you guys have the full picture itself, because this entire debacle started when the young man calls himself Grams, who put a tweet out and of course the petition out for the Stellar Blades to be reinstalled how it's supposed to be installed, according to the creative freedom of the artist Shift Up was trying to make. So this young content creator made openly a tweet on Twitter itself that his life has never been so threatened like it's been threatened recently, just because he is pro and creative freedom of an artistic freedom where you have a beautiful protagonist simply wearing a bikini. So his life was being threatened. But doing it so as a man called himself Tone Man, who reacted on that, who added a bounty of $20,000 on top of Grimm's head itself. So people reacted on it. One of the gentlemen say, isn't this a crime? For my according, if I ever put a bounty of $20,000 here in Kinshasa itself, the INL will be knocking on my door very fast and I will disappear. And I don't want to be in an African jail. I can promise you that one. How is this even deemed normal? To explain even more better, we have a content creator comes out here, hey, he's gonna explain to you in details what all of this is really
aka
about.
Mark Kern is the former team lead for OG World of Warcraft, and he's recently been covering a lot of news regarding Stellar Blade. This seemingly upset many clout activists over on Twitter. This guy Tone Man, then exceptionally upset, actually seems to be putting a 20k bounty on Grum's head. As any reasonable person would expect, this didn't go well for Tone Man at all. People tagging various law enforcement agencies in response. Other people looked further into this Tone Man guy, finding the website he had in his bio, Bowtie Cat, and also finding an Instagram account for Bowtie Cat with the name Tony M. Tony also claiming to be a co-founder of HuskyCon. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% the guy, but take a look at the evidence for yourself and come to your own conclusion, because after this all surfaced, the account for HuskyCon was suddenly deleted. But hey, what about that Bowtie Cat Instagram account that was allegedly Tone Man's or Tony M's? Well, when you take a look at that account, it seems like it's also suddenly been deleted. Okay, well that's all one thing. How about the Tone Man account itself? What about that? After people got law enforcement involved, Tone Man's account was set to protected mode, and shortly after that, it seems like he decided that just going into protected mode wasn't good enough, apparently deleting his entire account instead. But people weren't done there. They also found a LinkedIn account for Tony M, and how it claims to be the founder of Bowtie Cat. People are also posting this guy's face all around social media now. However, I'm leaving that out and blurring the LinkedIn profile pic. Maybe I'm being too nice, but I'm hoping this guy gets some self-awareness and doesn't do such unwise things in the future.
I'm dead serious when I'm saying that certain people have a severe mental health issue. How can you wake up in the morning and start putting death threat on people's lives because you have a political differences, because one group respect the creative freedom of an artist and self and you don't? And hell, how Sony can be such a hypocrite when Nintendo itself, which used to be the platform, was a family-friendly platform where heavy censorship, now they are more lenient if it comes to the censorship itself. When you have games like Last of Us itself and even Baldur's Gate, when you have open scene, sex scenes in a game itself, gay marriages and all those kind of things, openly uncensored on relief itself. But when you have a game like Stellar Blade itself, because they have a certain form of outfit choices and that is supposed to be censored. When you have Last of Us, literally Last of Us, who have a murder scene that's completely brutal and horrific to see, and you don't censor that. And you have I'm not even talking about the sex scenes that they have in the game itself. They openly having the sex scenes and penis physics on the Baldur's Gate itself, are completely unhinged and completely uncensored. Baldur's Gate have even zoophilia in its game itself. You can literally have sex with an animal and you do not censor that. But Stellar Blade is the game that offends you because Eve wear a latex outfit, because Eve wear a bunny outfit. That is absolutely insane. That is really insane. So if we do not as a community nip this thing in the bud, where is going to stop? Where it's going to stop? Because we are opening the Pandora's box, and that's why a lot of people are so passionate and trying to defend Eve itself, like this beautiful lady is trying to say very openly. Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, even Mass Effect have open sex scenes, and this are not sensitive. But Stellar Blade, because it's an Asian developers, had been censored. That's a pure discrimination. And I'm even talking about, for example, Hades itself, where you have Aphrodite, the greatest goddess itself, who are literally naked in the game itself. And that is supposed to be empowering. But an Asian young beautiful woman who is depicted for an Asian audience, and an Asian model, is considered as a form of obscene and over-sexualization. And another article that came out about the same author who wrote two different newspapers about Stellar Blade. One, he openly said that Stellar Blade outfits are sexy and simply hurt the story itself. But in another article, he praises, and whether speaking Baldur's Gate 3, for the changes that they have done in penis physics itself. And not even talking about why Stellar Blade is not a gay, for example. For them, imagine if Eve was a gay person itself, they will not be talking about this type of discussion and the way they are talking right now. Because we have a beautiful, straight, strong female protagonist that the players himself truly adores, is completely something wrong. There is physically, mentally something wrong with every single person who defends this and the way you're trying to defend, because you have to start thinking yourself where you are in the spectrum and the discussion itself. because this is about not only about discrimination against one group against another one, but it's also about creative freedom and artistic freedom itself. That's why a lot of gamers are so passionate and trying to defend itself, and why me personally as well, who signed the petition to free Stellar Blade itself and to give the game to the audience who are supposed to be given, because this entire woke shit, it has to come to a fucking stop. It has to come to a stop. That means not only we need to receive back the artistic freedom and the clothing style that Shift Off has created for us, but also means the gore effects of the blood that they diminished into the final release of the game itself has been taken off according to the first patch they released on release itself, because there's a physical and fundamental difference between the digital aspect and the physical aspect. And yes, if you are playing on the physical aspect, you can retake the patch out and play the game accordingly how the game was intended to be played. That means the outfit you're going to have, the gory outfits you're going to have as well, and also most importantly, the graffiti that's been displayed into the game has been taken off and altered during the patch itself. So if you have the physical aspect, you can take the patch out and play it how it's supposed to be played. But there is a little thing you need to understand. That this game is a Soulsborne game. You could see it like a life child between Nier Effect Autonoma and Sekiro itself. That means then, if you're a gamer, you need to understand that the parry effects and the dodging effect is truly important in your playstyle moving forwards. So the patch itself not only patched the gear sets, the visual aspect of the game, but also added new stuff into the game itself that will make your life easier in form of parrying and of course dodging as well. So if you're not a hardcore veteran if it comes to the Soulsborne game, you will have a hard time playing this game without this patch itself. So that means this game needs to have a repatch that will give the players back the game that we bought for the reason that we bought for, the artistic and the player freedom that we are promised to be played from the beginning itself. I'm your host, the Ashenlord Memna. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I can see you all during my live stream moving forward. So if you have any form of question, you can always reach me in the comments down below. I'm doing every single video I drop in the channel itself. Merci beaucoup encore, and I'll see you all guys at the next time. Like usually, one love only. Peace.